Hello, hello, hello. I hope that you can hear me. If you can hear me and if you can see me, then do let me know. I am just checking our comments to see if I can see you and if I can hear you. So if you're joining me live, come say hello. We are live in the group tonight, and they are a collective group where all our brilliant therapists are, and we are live on our main page. So if you are joining me live, do say hello. It will be lovely to see you. We're getting the hang of this 7:30 Wednesday evening business. Sure we are. We're getting the hang of coming together at this time, and it's so lovely to be with you consistently now. This has been a few weeks that we have kept this momentum going. So what are we doing this evening? This evening, as promised, we're going to have a look at the overall healing journey. So we've started looking at pieces of the puzzle. We started looking at parts of it, particular parts of it. But tonight, we're going to look at the overall stages. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at what happens within those stages. So my hope is that you get to see where you are within those stages. You get to see where you're landing, right? So you'll be able to at the end of this say, look, I'm at this stage and at that stage, and this is the reason I'm stuck, and this is the reason that I'm going around in circles, and this is the reason. And hopefully that by the end of it, it'll really make sense why you're either stuck or whether you haven't moved on to another stage, and hopefully it'll make sense what you need to do. Everything that I do in these live videos are to educate, to help, to be of service to you within your own issues. So everybody be going to the healing journey and coming into the healing journey for like loads of issues, like for depression, for anxiety, for low self-esteem, low self-worth, whatever it is that you're entering into the healing journey for. So it's all issues, but it's one process. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. I'm just going to check that I am live because I can't see anybody or I can't see anything. So I'm just going to check before I get into that I am live and that we are on the page. Okay, let us just double check this. And then we'll get stuck in. 2 minutes. The joys of technology. You can't see anything when you're supposed to. So what do we see? I see. We are here when we are live. Give me 2 seconds. I am just going to pull up the comments and make sure that I can see anything that comes. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm watching the live comments here. Okay, brilliant. Hi, Janet. Good to see you. Okay, so hello, Helen, as well. Good to see you. So here's where we are. The first stage of the healing journey is what I like to call the prep stage. Now, we've been talking a wee bit recently about the birthing, and birthing is part of the prep stage. It's when the material starts to come, when the material that you're looking to get rid of, when the material that you can't tolerate starts to move through your body, starts to come into your awareness. So it's when the depression gets too much, when the anxiety gets too much, when the self-esteem gets too difficult, when the doubt gets too big. That's that early stage. And at that stage, you normally reach out. If it gets to a stage where it's too much to handle, that it's infiltrating your life, it's stopping you living the life you want, it's too big, it's too difficult. It's at that stage we normally then reach out for help. Now, the prep stage is what I would consider the most important stage. And if you haven't seen video 1 in this series, go back to the birthing video because it's really important. Because as this material comes up, then what we're looking to do is see it as an opportunity to heal and move on to the next stage. So that's where this preparation stage really, really matters. So are you in that preparation stage? Is this stuff, and let me know in the comments below, is this stuff coming up? And what are you doing with the stuff that's coming up? Are you resisting it? Are you hating it? Are you pushing it away? Are you medicating it? Are you medicating it with behaviors? Are you medicating it with alcohol? What are you doing with it? Have you decided to look at it? Have you decided to bring it to therapy? Because if you've decided to bring it to therapy, then that might tell us what happens next. So my question to you is, have you decided to bring the therapy or coaching or help? Have you decided to bring it somewhere that would help you manage it, help you heal it? And so have you brought it somewhere or are you just managing it yourself? And that's a very important part of the first stage of healing. The decision to heal it or the decision to manage it. Have you decided to manage it? There's no right or wrong here. It's just understanding where you are. There's no shaming in this. It just is. Look, I managed mine for 10 years. I know what it's like to manage it. So it's just an awareness of where you are. No right, no wrong, no bad, no good, just an awareness. We're not about to put some more pressure on ourselves, but at least if we know where we are, we can make our decisions and lead ourselves into the next step. So, where are you? Brilliant. You can't manage it, Susie, yourself anymore. Brilliant. So, you're at the help stage. Now, Susie, that is brilliant because the next thing that you may come across, and tell me if this resonates, remember, we're still stage one. It has come up. You can't manage it anymore. You can't manage it inside yourself anymore. You're reaching out for help. You've gone for help, or you're still doing management techniques. Fine. The next stage, Susie, is this. What the hell have I done? Why did I open this up? Why did I go there? Why did I not try and shut this down? The next stage is what I would call, still within the preparation stage, the negotiations of self, where the fear kicks in, where am I ever going to get over this now that it's out there, now that it's open, now that I've reached out, now that I seem to give more energy to it? Is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to stop? What will become of me? How will I manage it? If that is resonating for anybody, please know that is a really, really natural part of the healing process. The mind understands itself and you in a particular way, and you're about to move towards change, and it is not happy about it. And so it asks all sorts of questions, all sorts of clarifying questions about why you would do this and why you shouldn't do this and how you're not going to survive it now. And that's what we call within the preparation stage, within our clearance system, emotional mastery. There is an awful lot of emotional mastery that is needed at this early stage. And it is vital for you to understand that noise. Are you sure? Can you handle? Can you cope with it? What will come? What if you can't handle? What will come? And if you go back in all my videos and you type in emotional mastery, I mean, I have hundreds of hours of videos on one stage of this, because there's three pieces of the puzzle here. There's once the material comes, there's what we call wrapping, and there's all this noise around wrapping. All that wrapping is really, really normal. And what we teach in clearing is that we hold space for that and help you get up to speed with what you're about to do, support you. So at this stage in the healing journey, it's a bit like looking down a long dark hole and saying, what is down there? Where am I going to go? And am I going to come back? And if that resonates, let me know. That is such a normal part of the process. Now, the next part of that process, and we're still at the first stage, is often this idea of nervous system activation. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of material at the minute live on social media about nervous system activation. But that's when the body sees this material as a threat and it's triggered and the panic or anxiety. And so a lot of that regulation work is a really great step to help you prepare for further work. And if we don't do that preparation work, if we don't do that emotional mastery work, if we don't do that nervous system regulation work, then we can get stuck in circles at this place. Anybody stuck in circles at this opening stage, at this preparation stage? That can be excruciating. And so what I'm hoping that this video will do is that if you're in stage one, this birthing, opening stage, this prep stage, coming away from management, moving towards the idea of what it is you're trying to work with, that you understand that you need this level of emotional mastery and you need the help with your nervous system if, only if, it's been triggered too badly and you can't tolerate the material. Once that work's done, it's with ease you move on to the next stage. What does that mean with ease? It means that there's a kind of a natural process to it. Once you feel safe, once you feel that you can work with this material, once you feel that there's an opportunity in it, once you feel that you have got the right support, once you feel, then the psyche seems to open the next door, and it opens the door into this next stage. And this next stage is what I call the finding stage. So the finding stage might start, and let me know in the comments if this resonates. The finding stage might start with why. Why do I feel the way I do? Why is this happening to me? What is going on in me and why? Now let me know in the comments below if you've ever asked the why question, or give me a heart or a thumbs up. This is a very important part of the finding stage. And it often is where we start to circle even more. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you why we circle in the finding stage. So let me know. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Tracy. So if you're in the finding stage, let me know in the comments below. Maybe a heart if this is making sense. If you don't want to put it in the comments, I understand. But let me know that this is resonating with you. Why? Why do I feel this way? Yes, good. I can see your thumbs up now. Why do I feel this way? What has happened? And when you enter the find stage, it can feel like your mind has gone on some sort of, recollection journey. It starts to sift through every memory. It starts to sift through every reason. It starts to make up reasons for why. It starts to come up with stories for why. It starts to come up with songs for why. It starts to literally. It's like opening a bin and having all this stuff coming. And that even in itself can be very difficult. The search for why is the mind's job. If you're in pain, the search for why is the mind's job. It's a natural part of the process. However, we have a tendency, because of the way our therapeutic structures are set up, to get lost in the why. And let me know if this resonates. Give me a heart or a thumbs up. When we get lost in the why, we start working on something that we think is the problem, and we work and we work and we work and nothing changes. Does that resonate in any way? Is this stuff landing? Is this where you are? We're searching in our heads, we're going round in circles, we're trying to find the reason why so that we can heal it. We come up with ideas, we work on that idea, and that idea is not where the root cause of this is. And we are back to square one. That is the most common difficulty in the find stage of healing. And some people give up at that stage and slip right back into management, because anything they seem to be putting their hands to, anything that they're coming up with, seems to be a continuous process. Also, anything that they work at doesn't seem to be fixing it. And so it seems to be a continued, looking for a car key in sand. You're just continually going and going and going. Yeah. Yes, Rachel, absolutely. I mean, it's such a natural part, such a natural thing. And I love that you say that you understand, because that was you previously. When we say that in groups like this, and when we could have thousands of people watching this throughout the week, it's really important, because if you're feeling this and this is happening to you, you often blame yourself. You often shame yourself. You often say that, I'm going to be stuck with this. And that's really where we can build on top of the pain that we're in. And what I want to do in these, I really want to be of service to you and let you know, look, finding why and working on the why is a really important part of the puzzle, but we don't want to get locked there. So what do we do not to get locked there? We go after the pain in the body. Clearing method is set up to search for the pain in the body and use a bottom-up approach. Now, when you use a bottom-up approach, you get access to the why really quickly instead of searching for the why. So I would encourage you to find bottom-up therapists. Find therapists that work with the emotional material and find the reason why. If you do that, you will shortcut years of searching. Years of searching why, years of going round in circles, years of trying to identify why you're in pain and the difficulty of the pain. There's another wee snippet of a technique. Instead of working in the why, work in the what. What do I feel? The what will always lead to the why, but if you ask the why first, you will get stuck and you will be spinning your wheels in the sand. And that's an excruciating place, because where it lands us is in this despairing cycle, because we have to find in order to heal. Because if we don't find, then we can't move on to the third section. And the third section is where the goodness is. It's where the hope is. It's where the remedy is. It's where the healing is. It's where the relief is. So if we don't find it properly, if we don't find the root cause of the pain, then we can't heal it properly. So we can stay stuck in this cycle. Let me know if anybody's stuck in this cycle. Is anybody stuck in this second stage? Once you do a good job at finding, you can move on to healing. Now, healing, you can have found it, and you can have found the root cause, and you can have found it, and you can understand it, and you can understand the why and the what. But if you don't treat that properly, if you don't treat that wound properly, i.e., if you try to treat it cognitively, if you try to treat it with thought, if you try to treat it with just some of the overview techniques, you'll be healing and healing and healing and healing and healing forever. How many of you watching this video have tried to heal cognitively the wounded part that you found? How many of you have got trapped in that place? Because here's what I know for sure about healing. Healing is an undoing process. It has to be a refiring process. What is refiring? Firing and wiring. Firing is the emotion, wiring is the thought. When we're dealing with core wounded pieces of ourselves that tend to show up like this, it's the emotional content first. Why? Because if we take the heat out of the emotion, if we take all the emotion out of the body, then it has nowhere to fire. And what happens is these thoughts that we're having in connection to these wounds start to dissipate, but they only dissipate from the woundedness itself, from the refiring itself. Yes, Susie, a somatic approach. Now, somatic approach, I'm talking about an emotional approach as opposed to a somatic approach. Find somebody that can work emotionally, bottom up. Somatics for me, let me explain, and thank you for the question. And this is perfect because if you have any questions, I can clarify them. Wounds are born, right? In my understanding, my experience, and all the thousands of clinical hours and all of the help that I've ever given and all of my own work, wounds are born in a very particular way. They're born with many elements of them. They're born somatically, they're born physically. So what I mean when they're born is I mean that they form somatically, emotionally, cognitively. So there's an understanding to this pain. They form with nervous system activation. Yeah, so they form somatically, physically, emotionally, cognitively, with nervous system activation, and often they form with a response. Maybe that might be a defense, or that might be a behavior. So they form with this kind of collective. They don't just form cognitively. That's why if you go near a wounded part of you cognitively, you're only taking away a piece of it. And if the emotion is still there, it'll still fire and it'll keep the same thought loops alive. It'll keep the same neural pathways alive, which is why everything we do in clearing is absolutely emotionally based. Now, emotions first, somatics next, physicality next. Often it works in that order, Susie, to answer your question. For me, we go after the emotion and the somatics that sit around it. So that would be a bottom-up approach. And so the job in healing should always be for me, should always be to re-fire. Fire means the feeling. To take the fire out of the body, to take the emotion out of the body. And then the wiring work can be done. It's very hard to do it the other way, especially if the energy is still coming from the body, especially if the energy of the wound is still there, if the energy of worthlessness is still there. But you know cognitively it's okay. You know cognitively that you have worth. You know cognitively, this is why knowing sometimes will never supersede feeling. This is why sometimes we can never think greater than how we feel, because the fifth sense, the emotional connection, is literal. And because it's so sore and painful, and there's also, I could go on about this for you see my favorite topic is the healing part of it. I love it. I get so passionate about it. But within that healing aspect, it's important for you to distinguish, am I running after this in my head? Am I trying to heal this from a head point of view? Because that is the number one reason that we get stuck without healing. It's the number one reason why we can be right up to stage 3 and go back to management. How many of you have done that? Go right up to stage 3 and go back to the old ways. Go back to the old ways of managing. Go back to whatever it is, eating, drinking, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what it is. Go back to the old ways of managing, because you're just stuck in these cycles. You're stuck in these cycles of healing. And that would be my number one tip for getting out of that stage. Now, see, when you get out of that stage, and this was certainly my experience. It was my experience with thousands of clients and thousands. I mostly see therapists at this stage. So a lot of what I was seeing was there will be an awful lot of healing done, an awful lot of rewiring and refiring, an awful lot of letting go. Because that's another thing. You can't be forced to let go if you haven't walked through the stages. You can't be forced to let go of something. And don't ever be forced to letting go of something before you've let it through. And letting it through is finding it and healing it. So don't ever be forced to let anything go that hasn't been let through. It will crucify you, because you'll do all of the stuff, you'll do the letters, you'll do the conversations with, and it'll not move a thing. Because the material that you're trying to let go of has to be let through and worked with. I went off on a tangent. You see, that's what happens. I get that bloody passionate. So, last stage, the becoming stage. This was a really, really incredible stage for me. So I'd done all of this work, done all of this healing, and by God had I done an awful lot of work, from being completely oblivious to the tsunami and having to work through this process. And then at the end, what happened was, at the end, was once all of this healing was starting to take place, once all of this healing was happening, I was starting to question who I was. I was starting to question, and does that make sense? Is there anybody at that stage of the healing? Is there anybody at that stage of the healing journey? Well, they've done an awful lot of healing, and now they're questioning, who am I? What do I want in life? Where am I going? Who do I want to be around? What really interests me? What's really happening for me? And so for me, that was nearly as scary as the beginning stage, because it felt like this whole new identity had come to play, this whole new way of being, this whole new, that all of the pain had left this awareness of who I really was. And whilst it's beautiful and wonderful, and it can also be scary. So if you're at that stage of the healing journey and you think, I have just come through all of that to arrive here. There's a T.S. Eliot quote, I'll paraphrase it, and it is, and after all of this time, I arrived back at myself, only knowing myself for the first time. And becoming's a bit like that. You've done all of this work, you arrive at this place, you're looking around you thinking, Is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Is this, and that's a really normal part of the process. And again, we get to see the opportunity in that. We get to see the opportunity in the growth and to become the person. Brilliant, Brona Mooney. 100% you. Brilliant. How did I know you would have said that was you? You get to become the person that you were meant to be. Now, see if you say stuck in there and you don't ask yourself the questions, then it'll feel lethargic. It'll feel heavy. Life will feel like it's not being fulfilled because there's the real you. There is nowhere in God's earth that when I was going through this healing journey, that I ever thought that at 7:30, or now it's 8 o'clock, I'm talking too much, at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, I'd be talking to you about healing. Absolutely not. I'd been in a job in retail. I had been at my first degree was business. Like, to get from there to here is part of that becoming process, is part of that finding who I was and doing what lit me up and you saw there how excited I get about this stuff. And I teach this stuff for a living. I teach it to therapists, I run programs, I run classes, and so this stuff is beyond exciting. Did I know when I was going through it that it was preparing me for this new life? No, I didn't. So when I hit the becoming stage, it was a wee bit discombobulating, to say the least. I was exhausted. I was thinking I've all my work done. I thank God all that healing's behind me. And then I had arrived at this place of what I would call leveling up, becoming who I ever was meant to be. Because as Carl Rogers says, we're born into this world our brilliant selves. And all the stuff gets attached to us. And all that we've done through that healing stage is pull it back. And then we arrive knowing ourselves for the first time. It's an opportunity. So there's the stages: the prep stage, the finding stage, the healing stage, the becoming stage. And here we go again. And it's a beautiful process. It's a sticky process. I don't think too much is said about it. I don't think it's understood well enough. I don't think it's communicated effectively enough. I think if we understand it, then we have a fighting chance to get through it. The more people I train, the more therapists that I train in this model, the more help we'll be able to give to people who are going through this process. The more I talk about it, the more open I am, then the more helpful I hope that I am to you. The more helpful I hope, even if you're at the beginning stage, remember there's no stage better than the next. It's all part of the process. It's absolutely all part of the process. And if you're stuck, it's all part of the process. It's fine. But it's about knowing where you're stuck and knowing how to move forward. I hope this has helped. It's been 30 minutes. I didn't realize I was going on that long. So hopefully it's supposed to be short and sweet, this stuff. Jacqueline Kern be saying that wasn't sweet. Brilliant, Rachel. Yeah. I left my job of 30 years to become who I was meant to be and learn to understand why I was and where I am now. Brilliant. There's becoming exactly as it is. Fantastic. If this was helpful and you think it was helpful for somebody else, then share it for me. If it was helpful, leave me comments. Let me know. This is going to form the foundation of everything that I talk about for the rest of the year. If it's not helpful, let me know too. I see it so many times in process. I see it so many times in our groups. I see it so many times in our trainings that I felt that it was an important topic to bring to show you in this wee bit of a longer session. If there's anything on it that you would like me to talk about specifically next week, hit me up a message. Brilliant. And let me know if it was useful or not. If you're coming at this from the replay, let me know. It's really important to me that I'm of service to you. Honest to God, it really is. And let me know if there's anything confusing. Let me know if you want anything clarified. I'm trying my best to make this as simple as possible so that we can all help each other get through the healing process. Bye for now, and have a lovely, 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 lovely evening. And any questions, just hit me up. Take care, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Thanks, Elaine. Bye bye.